As we now will be placing a reggae artist, Isiah Mentor, in the spotlight to reveal the story behind his big story to help understanding the culture of reggae music. Pleasant good afternoon to you, sir. How are you doing? What's the vibes like?
Greetings, Fonso Black on the biggest show. Everybody talking about your show worldwide. You don't know, sir, you know, Fonso Black, I will never turn so back, you know, loud and clear, cut and clear, my general. Oh, go on.
All right, give thanks again. You know, I mean, what's the energy where you are? What's the vibes like? You know, I mean, what's going on? Talk to us.
Yeah, man. So basically, the energy is good. Everything is blessed. First, we want to bless up with new team. We don't know, say, Susan Smith, make it happen. Remember, me tell you, professional. Other than that, you know, we're doing the work. We're putting in the work because we've been in the business for a while now. I'm one of the original resident artists from the Firehouse. I'm sure your fans are well educated that listen to your program UVC Radio to know that King Tubby's is the godfather, the foundation of many musical innovation in Jamaica. So he was my first producer. And so in short, you know what I'm saying, I'm using that legacy and that energy to create a lot of good music and just live and learn and share good energy with people and be on a show like yours is an opportunity, you know.
Thank you so much again. We want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and being here, allowing us to place you in the spotlight to reveal the story behind your big story. Of course, to help understanding the culture of reggae music coming from the island of Jamaica. Once again, Isiah Mentor, thank you and welcome.
Yes, my general, every time.
So let's start this, of course, by letting us know, of course, where exactly are you from? And we always interested in finding out early childhood. You get me? I mean, what was you like? How would you best describe yourself as a child?
Okay, so I was very calm and I listened a lot. I was born in Raytown, Kingston. 3 Ray Street, Kingston, Jamaica, and went to school. We migrated from Kingston to Spanish Town with my family and went to school in Spanish Town. Then I went to Tivoli Gardens High School in Kingston. And as a child, I was very very curious child. So I was very calm and I listened to the elders a lot. I listen to not only humans, but I listen to the earth. I listen to whatever the inhabitants of earth, and all of this knowledge from listening to the foundation people, grandmother, grandfather, mute people, foundation trendsetters in the reggae music business, such as Michael Rose, Ducky Simpson, Waterhouse, you know, people before us. I just listen to everybody, and because I'm a good listener, I gather a few knowledge about life, and now I'm sharing it within the music, and also with talking and counseling people around the world globally. So it's a blessing. It's a good thing, you know.
Wow, amazing to hear that. Of course, as a child, you would have paid attention and you've listened, and now you've acquired knowledge over the years. Now, your music, it's quite interesting to always find out what triggered that consciousness that made you realize that, of course, music is something that you enjoy doing and it's something that you wanted to pursue as a career. Talk to us.
Yeah, so music, a real artist develop you're anointed with music by a higher power, and so it becomes an inborn concept in your blood. I'm talking about real talented people. Talent is not something you just get on the street or you go to a store and buy, as you obviously know. You have to have that concept from within. It has to be in your blood, and a lot of time it's genetics, or a lot of time it just passes through different energies based on inspiration. And so with it's a bit of it's genetics. My grandmother used to sing for the Jamaica Labour Party in Jamaica back in the days when I was a child.
Hello.
part of that. And then naturally, as I grew, as a child, growing up, I could give you a quick story. I think I was around 9 years old, and every Saturday evening is a big cleaning up day for the big day. Sunday, we rice and peas day, and where families back when Jamaica was really a family, a different situation where Saturday we clean up and prepare for the big day Sunday where family do the family thing. And so I was cleaning. My chore was to clean the living room, the veranda, the porch, or the veranda, they call it porch, and the kitchen area. And I was just singing, but at that time, so young, I did not realize the mystical vibration of singing and music and what it actually does to people. So I was just singing, and my aunt heard me and called the rest of the family, asked me who was singing, and I said it was me, and she called the family. And from that day, based on people's reaction, I realized that singing and the vibration that comes from your mouth in a melodic form is a mystical science and a mystical vibration that really affects people positively. And so from them, I realized that I can sing, and so I just basically work on the art and the anointment that I got from our ancestors. Keep working on it, and I'm still learning and still growing.
Wow, absolutely. That's amazing to hear. Now, of course, you've mentioned that, you experience having told by your grandmother that, indeed, that they saw talent. Walk us through that first time you had a performance at school, and what was the reaction of your mates like? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, very good question, by the way. Very good question. So I after that time discovered by my family and start singing in my ear in my neighborhood. All my friends from next door and in the community start gathering at my home every morning just to hear not only my music, my gimmickal behaviors, making jokes, and so my gate becomes the hangout spot for the community, for the young men and young ladies in the community. And so it started to spread that I can sing. And so the Ministry of Health in Jamaica at that time wanted to do a benefit concert for people that was challenged or people that was ill, sick people in Spanish Town. And so the Ministry of Health was putting on a concert. And of course, I got booked. I was mentioned, so they booked me on it. And I performed, and from that day on, the entire community started hearing, that I have a talent. They let me feel totally motivated. A lot of support, and so it spread from there. That part of Spanish Town is called Duncan Spen, and so it started spreading all the way into uptown Spanish Town, where I'm starting to meet everybody, Papa San, Anthony Red Rose, everybody who was everybody. All the big producers start singing at the nightclubs in Spanish Town, De La Vega City, everywhere. And so it's starting to spread all over Prison Oval. When the big sounds come, Metro Media, Stereograph, they would give me a little one piece off of the mic. So it started to grow. And just to kind of capsulize it, because it's a bit of an extended history. And after that, I was performing in Old Harbour. And this has to go, where do I started to be a part of the King Tubby's Firehouse record label. I was discovered by the engineer professor that was there at Count Basie when I was singing. And he heard me, tell me like the way I sound, and he invited me to the King Tubby's recording company studio. And I like King Tubby, which is the godfather. He teaches basically based on what I heard. King Jammies. This King Jammies come from my producer, King Tubby's school, King Jammies, Bobby Digital. Everybody was everybody back then had to pass through King Tubby's hands. And so, he invited me. I performed the Saturday, invited me the Monday morning. I went to the studio Monday morning, and I became one of the resident artists along with engineer Fatman, engineer Pigo, Anthony Red Rose, Wayne Palmer, King Kong, everybody, just great talented people. And so we were resident artists. We had Sly and Robbie, Yabi U, Asha that plays with Black Uhuru, all the names you can think of. So we had a good system where, and I'm just trying to capsulize a long history here because of time. And so we had a nice system where we had Sly and Robbie used to build our rhythms. Every big musicians back then, used to come and they get work with King Tubby's to build all the rhythm tracks. We had our main distributor at that time was Tough Gong and Sonic Sound. And then we have radio DJs who was a part of the family like Barry G and everybody. So King Tubby's has a nice system set up. We had our chef that cooked for us every day, and that chef became very famous, but not in a necessarily good light. His name was Sander Khan, and before Sander Khan became Sander Khan, he was a humble kid that used to cook for us until he became notorious as one of the baddest men in Jamaica at one point. But that's
Isiah Mentor, let's take us back to Spanish Town in the early days in your career.
Right.
Now we know the sound system has been has played a big part in the development of reggae music coming from the island of Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
Whilst performing on sound system in the town of Spanish Town, we would like you to explain to us what was actually going on when grab hold of that microphone and people would come out to dance, to enjoy themselves. Explain to our listeners the behavior pattern you saw happening in the dance whilst performing.
Wow. I just want to compliment you real quick on the questions because I do a lot of this week alone. I did over 5 interviews and you asked some very good questions and your listeners should be totally appreciative of these questions. I just want to say that real quick. So the energy, that time was when, I don't know, the energy was so innocent. It was so fun. It was real reggae music where the atmosphere, the chemistry, the cohesiveness of every artist, because what it looked like, and I hope your listeners could visualize this while I'm speaking. The thing is, you would have maybe 10 or 15 artists standing around a microphone. Everybody brain is working. Everybody, because when a rhythm, say the answer rhythm come on, and everybody love the answer rhythm. So you'd have a high energy people innocently having fun, man dancing with woman that you didn't have no man standing in a corner by themselves or them thing there. Man is dancing with woman, the DJ is playing the music and the artist, everybody is pumped up. Their brain is going 10,000 miles an hour trying to find lyrics for this rhythm. Everybody wants to shine and everybody was in close proximity. It was just pure love, pure energy. So for I myself as an upcoming artist, I can't wait to get a piece of the mic to shine. And then people, one thing I really love, nobody wants to like close you out. So and sometimes you even have your hands itching to get the mic, but you can't grab the mic from nobody else. You have to itch. And so the artist beside you, and in your brain, an artist would do the chorus and one verse. And right after that one verse, you're open for him to just give you the mic. Some people go overboard and go into 2 verse, 3 verse and like, oh. But then some artists is very considerate. And as soon as they finish the second verse and your hand is itching to get that mic to go on. So in total, the energy was innocent. It was good. People support each other. Nobody no bad mind and fight nobody. But then the rhythm was running and people were dancing. Man a dance with woman. The cane man outside, I caught cane coke. I mean, I wish those days would come back. And those were the real good time of dancehall in reggae music, Jamaica.
Isiah Mentor, you've just described to us the behavior pattern that you saw back in the early 80s. It's described as love. People would come and rubber-dubber, and it was a joy.
Exactly.
By the mid-90s into the late 90s, we saw a change in the behavior pattern. The dance was more aggressive. People was more violence. And the lyrical content that we hear from most of the songs back in the mid-90s, it was derogative towards women.
Right.
As artists who've been around for quite some time, where did we go wrong? Where did the change happen?
Question. Boy, I'm not lie. I ask some journalistic question. I love your questions. Very good questions. Yes, very good question. So where did we go wrong? We went wrong with and now I'm going to get a bit scientific and scientific here. The psychological evolution, and as it connected to the Western virus, the psychological Western virus lifestyle behavior from the West, and I say this with no apology, the United States behavior, how they live their life, the West, some parts of Europe, right there in England, everywhere, their lifestyle as it relates to the televisions and the media and what the young generation is seeing causes also is a contributing factor in the psychological evolution and the behavior and what is socially acceptable and what is not. And what I'm saying to you is the younger generation is starting to adapt to a lifestyle that is foreign, that is a bit uncivilized. I'm not generalizing and say, oh, a lot of them is adapting to things, the way they dress, what they perceive as socially acceptable and what they think is normal. And because we are musicians that lead and set trends, we have the ability to change people's perceptions. We have the ability via the music to change, to let people accept what is not normal or whatever. And so the evolution of young people, not just with Jamaica, all over the world, in a lot of cases, what they see as good, what they see as acceptable, what they see as funny, is totally different from what we are used to as more mature people. And so that affects the creation of and the lyrical content of writers. And therefore, when that happens, the radio DJs in a lot of cases seem as if they have no choice because they have to sell what they have to play what sells in order to get a look in at them career. So it's a compilation, and I'm just speaking from my perspective and what I see as an artist. You know, I'm saying the different, there's a lot of different factors, contributing factors as to the psychological decline of reggae, of lyrical content, so to speak, and what the artists put together. And so that is a part of our somewhat detriment as it relates to the longevity and the growth of reggae music. So that's where we went wrong. That's what we changed. And so if I may, that's why we have radio station like UVC. That's why we have myself. We're just trying to see if we could keep up the positive work and continue the legacy of positive music, and see if we could salvage or save the music.
Very comprehensive explanation there by Isiah Mentor. Now, not just the behavior pattern we saw a change in over the years, also production. Right. In the early 80s, production was often seen with live musicians in studios recording. By the 90s, we've seen a drastic change where persons started adopting softwares which allowed them to produce music. And in the years, we saw a decline. We saw the production we saw coming from Jamaica was not as opposed to what we used to hear in coming from back in the 80s. That feel that accompanied their production. Like when you hear the music, you could actually get the emotion from the music. As an artist who've been around again, what is your take on that change we've seen over the years in terms of production?
Right. And so the answer to that still, it's connected to what we talked about earlier of the psychological decline of what people mentality is, their perception, and also what they produce, because your mentality will determine what you produce. And when I say produce in any given field or product you're trying to infuse, if your mentality is just about money, if you do not have a spiritual base to start from in creating a product, your product will definitely, I don't want to say garbage, it's strong of a word, but you're going to deviate from what the original reggae music is. And so because of this, to me, in my mind, and I'm not a psychologist, but I'm always fascinated how the brain works. And what I'm saying to you is people's psychology is declining as to in every aspect of society. I noticed that over the years. And so the producers, in a lot of cases, they follow suit as to produce music that they want to sell, because no one is going to invest in something that doesn't sell. And so all the behaviors is just it's trending towards making a profit. The art people, let me say this to you, half of the people in reggae music are not meant to be artists. Half of them are not talented. And I say this confidently. They just think it's something to do. They rhyme a few words and they're able to sit on the rhythm and they're sold and whatever. And so when you have, as far as back in the day, again, it's so much. Back in the day, you used to have a band come to the studio where you have 5, 6, or 7 individuals who is collectively sharing a vibration together. If you look at Bob Marley, you look at all the groups, you look at all the big groups at the Congos, everybody is in a spiritual realm. Everybody is spiritually in their zone, putting together vibration of music to spread love. And that's what you feel and hear on the record. Now an individual sits in his bedroom on a laptop and a synthesizer and build rhythms and have lyrical content that has to do with what societies deem as appropriate, and write content that is disrespectful. Listen again, I want you listeners to understand, I'm not trying to generalize in a lot of cases. And so people sit there and they say, well, when you talk about a woman this, and when you say you go bust gunshot in a man's head, that is acceptable to a lot of bad man lyrics. That is acceptable because, listen, when you can create a song talking about the murder of another individual, I am going to be guarded in responding to that psychologically, because I love my people. But when you start to dance to the death and destruction of another individual, there's so much words I can put into that I'm not going to. And so when I said to you the psychological decline of our people and people who consume violent music and destroying the legacy of reggae music, that's what I meant. You know what I'm saying? So our authors that write songs and who plays them, man for dead, power, gunshot for plus, gunshot for, we can't even say the word, lick out your marrow. These things are not civilized. It's an uncivilized, evil behavior. And so we have to really start paying attention to that. And yes, I give radio stations like yours and other station in Jamaica that will not. One thing I want to say about European station. A lot of stations in Europe and even Africa do not play those garbage. They really don't. And there are some stations in Brooklyn and certain places they would play it, and certain places, would play gunman lyrics. But I see a slow trend now where people are denouncing violent lyrical content. And, there's excuse that people use saying, oh, them just are right about them environment. No, you have a person. That argument is garbage. You have a thing called personal responsibility. We have a unique responsibility to be careful of what we write and what we send out there. So, when you start writing lyrics that man for dead and skull for boar and all that thing there, I don't believe in devils and all of that, but that's some devil worshipping stuff. And I could go on and on. There's so much.
Isiah Mentor.
Yes, my brother.
Early on, you spoke about the psychological decline that has impacted on the reggae industry negatively.
Right.
You, as an artist, obviously, we've heard your music, and it's evidence that you're conscious, roots. Your music is positive. What has kept you grounded and humble over the years, despite of that psychological decline we've seen in Jamaica?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Morality from my mother, and to be
I do apologize. I think we sort of missed the artist there.
No matter how we're being infected by the Western virus.
Okay, excuse me. I think you need to go back because we sort of like lost you there for a minute. So you were saying about your mother, so you could take it from there.
Yeah. So back to your question, what kept me holding on strong is because first, I'm still an African. African that was placed in Jamaica. And we still have certain, I could go as far as that genetically we have very high moral standing. And then my family do not play around with stuff like that, with those type of behaviors, certain type of dirty behaviors and mentality. And so growing up, gave me the door to start listening to the planet, start see what is good and bad, and play my part as a productive citizen and what I contribute to society. And so I know I was destined to do more than just music based on my ancestors, and the planet reached out to me, and I had to pay attention and do what is good, because I see what is going on now is not a good thing. It's going to destroy, if we're not careful, it will totally destroy humanity, our behaviors, as in profit over people, vanity, over sexualized societies, and all these bad things. So you have to have people like me and the I and other good, well-thinking citizens of this planet to do our part to combat this toxic virus that is spreading across the globe. We have it's like a tidal wave of toxicity spreading across the planet, infecting our young children, and it reaches far. And you know what's sad? And I hate to be pessimistic here. We're almost entering the land of no return, because now people are confused about their sexuality, and and I'm not going to get into all of that stuff on your show, but it is so bad where it's just getting out of control. So we need people like conscious, well-thinking people to try to see if we can get back to some form of normalcy as what nature is intended, as far as good, upstanding, moral people, and our culture as it relates to even reggae music. Because a lot of people get into reggae music and don't even realize the purpose of reggae. There's a reason why reggae is here. Reggae is not just some little freestyle thing where I'm on just knock two pan. No, reggae is a rebellious music to send a message and promote peace, love, and unity, and a Rastafari way of life. That's why reggae is here. Is a reaction to slavery, is a reaction to corruption, is a reaction to, and that's why our ancestors, our musical ancestors, create reggae. So when Mrs. some little boy and some little girl just get up, you have some of them just hustle the thing. So there are some Europeans who just hustle it to make a living, because them now are working in a factory and they make millions out of it. There are some Jamaicans who just hustle the thing all over. But on the other side of that, you have good people who truly love the music. I, for one, I'm not into reggae for no star boy. Me not run down no big hit. Me just want to sing conscious music for the people and listen, learn, and to make an impact and a positive footprint on this planet via reggae music through our ancestors,
Far listeners, my name is Fonso Black. And of course, we've now placed in the spotlight today reggae artist Isiah Mentor. We're going for a song break. And the song you're going to hear in the background is called End of Days. And when we come back, Isiah Mentor will be telling us more about that song right here on UVC Radio, the sound that binds us together. Let's get straight into it. End of Days.
Behold mankind, the beginning of the end is an end. Right now, behold mankind, the beginning of the end is an end.
Bad music, yeah. Out there on them.
Right now, right now. I can feel it when the wind blows. I can see it in people's eyes, and the violent way out the ocean flows. The wrath of Jah will come crashing on their doors. Judgment for them and those who wear old Babylon clothes. Rastaman been warning, teaching and chanting about the evil things we are doing. Peace and love could be everlasting if we would listen to Jah. end of days, down here on your earth, some children have no respect for their elders. Their materialistic mentality destroy their sense of family.
Of course, welcome back if you're just joining in. My name is Fonso Black and I'm talking to reggae artist Isiah Mentor in the spotlight, revealing the story behind this big story. You just heard the title track called End of Days in the background. Isiah. the beds, the genesis behind that song. Talk to us. What was going on in your head?
Well, as far as that song is concerned, it's just basically, again, because if you notice how I start the conversation is being plugged into the earth, Mother Nature, and what I see evolving. I see the wind, the ocean, the psychology of the human species. Everything is changing. And I'm not, this is not just some philosophical mumbo jumbo thing. It's real stuff if you watch the planet, because a lot of people don't realize the planet is alive. We're living in it, and it's feeling our energy and reacting as such. And so these are the things that I see and that inspired to write that song. We are, based on our behavior now, the evolution again psychologically, we may be approaching the end of times, and I don't want to sound, doomsday, but it's just the truth. We may not see it in this lifetime, but it's coming based on our behavior. But we speed up the process based on our behavior, because every bad thought, every time we kill somebody, every time we destroy the planet, it have an effect on the planet. And the planet is not here forever. Our behavior directly affects the functionality of the planet, because we are all connected to the planet. So when people think they can destroy and start wars and kill and have evil thoughts and it has no planet, they're totally delusional. And so these are the things why I write songs like that.
Amazing. Thank you so much again for that. I would like you to explain to us the connection with the levity of Rastafari and the use of marijuana as it relates to reggae music. How is it connected? Explain to our listeners.
Okay, again, good question. So it's not complicated. A lot of people, you're rightfully right, and there's a good your question is very important to people who may think marijuana is associated in some way with Rastafari. The answer is no. Okay, as far as ceremonially and spiritually, there are Rastafarians, like I am a Rastafarian, but I do not smoke. Some people use the marijuana for supposedly a higher level of consciousness, or the bridge to a higher level of consciousness, as in meditation. The Indians, I'm assuming, were the first one to discover marijuana and its use. Marijuana has been using for years, rightfully so, and I totally respect it and celebrate it. I sing about marijuana too. And so marijuana is extremely important for its medicinal properties. And marijuana is one of the best medication anyone could take. But my system chooses not to use it. But as it relates to Rastafari, no, it's not connection to the mission of Rastafari, because Rastafari is a reaction to slavery, and marijuana is just one of the materials or herbs that is used to enhance a meditation, but it's not connected.
Thank you so much for that. Now, we also know that currently you've been residing in Ethiopia, and that's in Africa. And of course, you were born in the island of Jamaica. What was that transition like for you, being from the island of Jamaica and tapping into the motherland, Ethiopia, as an artist? How did it impact your musical career. Walk us through that transition.
It's one of the best. I'm trying to find words to describe it. It's the only time you felt, especially living in the West, you felt total. You felt like you just feel total. You feel complete when you touch down at the airport, Boli International Airport in Addis Ababa, and you step on the ground. Immediately, if you're a well-connected person to the planet and your history, as a Black African, your mind run back on your ancestors. You felt like you were taken on a bus somewhere, got lost, and you're home. It's the first time in my stomach I felt I found my home. I'm back home. Because when you look around you, you see your kind, you see your people. Everybody shows love, smiling, welcoming you. There's no words to describe it. And I would invite every single person of goodwill, of African descent, go back to Africa. I'm not saying you have to go back to live, even though it's another subject, because the only way I think Black Africans can survive in the West is to go home. They cannot survive here. And that's for another topic, because there's a lot of things I could break down with that. But what I'm saying is at least go to visit if you want to feel total, if you want to feel balanced as an individual. It's important that you go back and feel the vibration of your ancestors and feel the energy of that part of where you're from. So I would invite any of your listeners to take a trip. There are a lot of us in the Rastafarian community say repatriation every single day. And I have to, burn with love sometimes. And nobody, Babylon can't stop us from going back home. Cannot. But I would advise anyone, because when I lived there for 7 years in Shashamane, a family and everything. And I went to the home of His Majesty, a couple of his homes in Wanda Gwinnett and other places. And it was, I can't believe the feeling. I went into His Majesty children's room, in his living room, sat in the couch. Let me tell you something. These feelings, I would love to share it with other people. I want other people to experience it. Go to Ethiopia, go to Ghana, go to Nigeria, just go to Africa, whatever you're doing. Don't let your job stop you. You plan it, you buy a ticket, and you go. It's simple. There's no excuse. And the reason I'm inviting people to go, if you want to feel complete, because the minute if you live in the West and never leave out of the West, you're not evolving, you're devolving as a human being, because we don't belong here. This is not our land. We build it, we own it now because we are the only one that work for it, but this is not where we're from, okay? And so we're trying to assimilate or adapting to another hemisphere that we don't belong. We belong where the sun shines. That's where we belong. And so,
now,
I understand.
Of course, as it relates to your music,
yes,
moving to Shashamane, that's in Ethiopia, what sort of impact that it had on your music career?
It inspires me more and makes me more rootically grounded as an artist. When I'm in Ethiopia, it really gives me a stronger foundation spiritually. And so it really did a lot for me spiritually. And when your spirituality is complete, you're good. Everything else either doesn't matter or just make you stronger. So because I know I'm home, I'm in the house or the castle or the mansion of His Majesty, I feel totally balanced, firm, strong, and nothing can change that. I just feel totally complete and very powerful as a Black African,
I tell you, fires and listeners out there, he is rooted, he is conscious, and most of all, he is Rasta. At this point, we'll go for another song break, and in the background, you will hear the title track called Struggle. Now, we all could identify with struggle. Some might say the struggle is real. Globally, we've been faced with that challenge, the struggle. So when we come back, we'll have Isiah Mentor telling us the inspiration behind that powerful song called Struggle, right here on UVC Radio.
job, my family stressing me out. My bills are piling up, the little hustling is not enough. I'm pretty out there, but hustlers can never give up. So I said struggles make me stronger, and disappointments make me go harder. Oh, and I'm pretty out there, but I am a fighter. I jump rock me born, so I am a survivor. Hands to my fire, no. Hands to my fire, no. People close to me, them love to borrow money and style the king and turn me into enemy. Oh God, I try to keep them alive, but I'm feeling right in it. From the other day, it seems like my life going through a phase. My friends, my job, my family stressing me out. My bills are piling up, the little hustling is not enough. I'm pretty out there, but hustlers can never give up. So I said struggles make me stronger, and disappointments make me go harder. Oh, and I'm pretty out there, but I am a fighter. I jump rock me born, so I am a survivor. Hands to my fire.
And of course, if you're just joining in, I am talking to reggae artist Isiah Mentor, placing him in the spotlight to reveal the story behind his big story, to help understanding the culture of reggae music coming from Jamaica. We just heard the song called Struggle, and now Isiah will be telling us much more on the genesis of that song. Welcome back. Isiah. Yeah man, struggle is real.
We never turn so back, we name Fonso Black.
Absolutely. Talk to us, the genesis of that song.
Yeah, so basically struggles deals with everyday life that people go through. And I'm one of those that takes a negative energy and turn it into a positive energy. And so it's really, I use struggle that I go through, but I know people around the world can relate it. Some of your listeners right now can relate to it wherever they are in their cars, going home from work, to go home to deal with issues either with their kids or their loved ones or just the Babylonian system. And so I wanted to get a message out that struggles just make me stronger. And again, it's a lot of cases all in your mind, how you determine how you feel and how you deal with stress or issues by just look at it and use the power of intention to determine how to resolve or to deal with an issue. And so if it's your loved one, or say your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend cheat on you, or if the government trying to stress you, you have to just take a minute to sit back and say, okay, how am I going to handle this? And you have a choice, is to take that struggle to make you stronger by dealing with it. And there's multiple positive results if you're able to sit down and look at a situation and use the power of intention to resolve it. So that's the message I wanted to send out in this song.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, of course, Africa, America, UK, wherever you are, this is the moment that you all have been waiting for, as we now will be placing in the spotlight reggae artist Isiah Mentor to give us a cappella. Go for it.
I like the way you come, son, with that. I like that. All right, my general. So for people out there listening to the number one show on the planet, UVC Radio with Fonso Black, I just want to say to the eye them live and direct. Make them go on. God, I go deal with them. All the killer and the murderer them. Jah, I go deal with them for her, Jah children. Make them go long. God, I go deal with them. All the killer and the murderer them. Jah, I go deal with them for her, Jah children. Wicked man, can't you sleep at night? Well, I know that your bed bug bites. Nightmare of the victims are cry. Peered up is around your bedside. How do you feel when the little girl cry? Her last breath when she closed her eyes. Now me strap up with blood in me eye. And I know it's a matter of time. So make them go on. Fonso Black, I go deal with them. You don't know, so this is Fonso Black.
Oh, tell you, yes, fiery people. You get me? You don't forget to check him out on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. The name is Isiah Mentor. If there is a promoter who just listened through this acapella, I would like to book you on an event. What is the best contact for you?
The best contact right now is the social media. The team, my management, the publicist, Susan Smith, and you don't know so who said that you can link up Fonso Black scene, because you don't know, say, yeah, man, it's all connected, man. One mission. Yeah, man, Susan Smith in Jamaica. You can reach out directly on any social media. You can link up Fonso Black or one big family, you know what I mean? Oh.
And of course, a person would like to hear more music coming from Isiah Mentor. What are some of the social platforms that they could get you at?
All of them, you know, Facebook, Instagram, it's a whole of them in general. You know, I don't really do the TikTok thing yet, because I still watch what am I do with TikTok? TikTok, them I plan to sell it on some boom bam bam with the Chinese, them, I don't know. But yeah, man, Facebook, Instagram is the two main one. And just email me, isiahmentor@yahoo.com. And as I said, reach out to Susan Smith, you know, and it's Isiah Mentor /Facebook, Isiah Mentor Instagram, you know. Just put in Isiah Mentor and everything. Once you put Isiah Mentor in Google, everything will pop up. Everything, because everything is associated, as you know.
Lovely. And of course, what is your next big project that you are working currently that your fans could expect coming from Isiah Mentor very soon?
Well, we're in production because right now I'm working with some young generation of musicians. I have this Mars Dan from Jamaica, as a young kid, like 21, 22, that's building some. Because the thing is, I plan on being innovative and kind of creative in singing on some of the newer rhythms, but conscious. I wanted to the youngest generation to know that you can sing conscious lyrics or songs about love, positive songs about women and some of these rhythms. So I am working on a project right now on an Afrobeat rhythm. I'm working on another project on a trap rhythm. And I also have, you know, obviously my roots reggae, one drop roots rhythm. So for the rest of the year, I'll be having different levels of music, but still maintaining the message and the purpose of reggae music and my musical ancestors to carry on the legacy.
Isiah Mentor, it has been a pleasure placing you in the spotlight, revealing your story behind your big story, help understanding the culture of reggae music coming from Jamaica. Just before we come to the end of this interview, is there anyone out there you'd like to big up to?
Yeah, man. First, I want to big up my ancestors who paved the way, because when you're speaking to Isiah Mentor, you're speaking to my ancestors from Ghana, Africa, Ethiopia. You're not just speaking to I want to big up my family. I want to big up my son, Soleil, Isaiah, and my daughter, Makiba. I want to big up my new management, Susan Smith. I want to big up all King Tubbies, wherever your energy is. He's the one that makes me who I am musically also. Professor, the engineer, and everyone that's in my peak or Fatman, everybody's in my musical journey. I want to give thanks. I want to give thanks to, you know, everybody that shows love. You, Fonso Black, and your team at UVC, you're an asset to the music to create a platform for upcoming artists. We need that. You don't stress artists out. You just open your door and let us in to spread the word. So you are an asset, and we will never forget the good work of Fonso Black and on the spotlight. You don't know. We give thanks, my brother.
Arthur, it's been a pleasure talking to you, of course. A very, very inspiring interview there by Isiah Mentor, and loads to learn on the culture of reggae music. Don't forget to check him out on Facebook, Instagram. Get on your devices now and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Remember, he is conscious, rooted, and of course, he is Rasta. Isiah Mentor. Pleasure talking to you.
Blessed, my brother. Blessed, and all the people out there. Keep tuning in and listen to Fonso Black Station. Wherever you're coming from work, just put it on and listen if you want a higher level of consciousness. If you want to be a happy person, just listen to Fonso Black UVC Radio. You don't know. We give thanks for life. You don't know. Salas. Yeah, Joe.
Rastafari. And of course, we want to big up to Powerhouse Global Media. Susan Smith, yes, publicist in Jamaica there. Check her out, Google her. Powerhouse Global Media, one of the baddest publicists around the film.
Yeah, man, she's very professional, love her work, you know. She called right before we go on live, she called me, you ready? Make sure you're ready. I'm saying, yes, Susan, everything good. Love that about her.
All right, then. Thank you so much again. Pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, Rastafari, blessed, give thanks.